Welcome to Web TV. These are one-on-one interviews with business and political leaders in our community, and I want to introduce the folks of Cambridge and the Cambridge Chamber of Commerce members to not necessarily a new individual in our community, but a new investor into our community, somebody who's really important to me as an individual. He's a good friend of mine over the years. We've enjoyed our friendship together and our working together, and it's John Neufeld, who is the executive director of the House of Friendship, probably more popular or known more in KW, but has always been working a little bit with Cambridge people and is now an investor in Cambridge. John, welcome.
Thanks for having me here, Greg. It's good to be here.
So why don't you tell everybody, first of all, where House of Friendship is in Cambridge, or what you've done, what you're bringing to Cambridge?
Yeah, so we've served Cambridge for probably several decades, but we've never had a physical location here, and we've worked in real close partnership with partnering agencies like Cambridge Self-Help Food Bank and Bridges Shelter and others. So we're not interested in duplicating or replicating services, but so we've done other programs like the Appliance Repair Program has been here for decades. But yeah, most recently we have purchased a building in town, and so want to bring more services to Cambridge.
This is exciting stuff. You know, John, tell us a little bit, first of all, about the House of Friendship. I think one thing that struck me is you and I had a conversation a while ago, and it was the first time I actually heard the history. And this is, don't be worried, this isn't going to go on for a long time. It's not a really big story, but it's an impactful story that has some really neat trigger points in it through along the way that have really created an organization that is truly across the spectrum. So tell us a little bit about how it came to be and what you're doing today.
Yeah, and I was really inspired by the history myself when I first came to House of Friendship, and I think it inspires all of us at House of Friendship 77 years later, our roots and where we came from. And the roots are during the economic depression in the 30s, when the whole world was struggling and lots of issues, challenges. And so there was a group of women here in Waterloo region that just kind of came together, and they said, look, we can't change the whole world, but there's got to be something we can do in this community. And that small group of individuals started the little mission at House of Friendship. They brought in a director, Joseph Kramer, and they said, we can't change the world, but we can offer a meal. And so there on King Street, in a small little storefront that we rented from the Bingaman family, we started House of Friendship, and it started small, and at that point it was addressing the need of individuals on the street.
Now, was it a shelter at that point, or was
Nope.
it just?
It was just a storefront where we provided a meal, and then with time, we moved over to Charles Street, and then Joseph Kramer, the founder, allowed some of the gentlemen to sleep over because they knew they had nowhere to go. And so that was kind of how the shelter started. And it was very, throughout the history of House of Friendship, there's two key things. One is listen to the needs of the community, and second, be entrepreneurial. Respond to the needs in a creative, unique way, and sometimes that's planned and sometimes it's not. Joseph Kramer, just the right thing to do was to allow some of those gentlemen to stay over, and so with time, you end up running a shelter.
I think a lot of people look at not-for-profits or charitable organizations in town and say, well, why are you part of the Chamber of Commerce? Like, what does business have to do with you? I think in reality, we all know you're running an organization. Part of your responsibility, big part of your responsibilities is administration. That's always got to be business-centric. You got to make sure you've got the revenue to come in for the expenses that are going out. But you have long-standing, important business relationships as well.
Absolutely. The success of House of Friendship, and just to bring you forward 77 years today, Greg, we're serving about 42,000 people. So from the original 5-6, gentlemen on the street that we provided a meal in 1939, today, through about 20 programs, 170 team members, 1,000 volunteers, we're serving about 42,000 people throughout Waterloo region. And the only way we got there was through the support of this community. One of the things that I love about House of Friendship, I believe it reflects the best of this region. The entrepreneurial mindedness, the risk-taking, the barn building kind of approach, and the caring and the compassion. And I think when you bring those factors in some really incredible things happen. And so, so throughout all the years, yeah, strong local businesses here in town, corporations have gotten behind us, encouraged us, challenged us to take risks when we probably were scared out of our mind. But now looking back, we're grateful that we did it, because now we can do what we do. And so what do we do today? Today, yeah, we provide shelter and housing. We provide food security. So we do a lot of emergency food hampers, similar to Cambridge Self-Help Food Bank. And we do addictions treatment. We're the leading provider of addictions treatment for adults. And then the last thing is community centers. So what we do is we work in low-income neighborhoods throughout Waterloo region, trying to address people's basic needs. And that all happened because there was a lot of entrepreneurs, family businesses that got behind us and said, we're willing to take the risk with you. They invested in us, supported us, volunteered, and it's still going on till this day. So, so that's why we're a member of the Chamber. That's why we have a strong relationship with the business community, because we know if we're going to accomplish anything in this community, it's got to be done in partnership. It's got to, we all need to work together. The days of, you know, well, all social problems need to be taken care of by one institution or that, those days are done. Mm-hmm. It's about government, it's about business, it's about social service, it's about the community. We've got to come together. It's the only way we're going to.
Wise handful of women 77 years ago who realized that this is the way we need to address the urgent needs really in our community for those who can't help themselves.
And they didn't get immobilized by, oh my goodness, there's an economic depression across the world. There's nothing we can do, so we're just going to, you know, be fear-based and we're just going to read the papers and get really worried and depressed. They said, we can't do everything, but we can do something. And that simple act of providing a meal to 5-6 gentlemen.
It's got to inspire you every day to think,
absolutely,
this group of small women who just provided a meal has turned into an organization that has an incredible impact on thousands of people every year.
But Greg, we need to take that away. All of us need to take that piece away and realize, sure, there's a lot of challenges. Our communities are going through certain challenges right now, and we can get immobilized by that, or internationally. And none of us have to do it all, but we've got to do something.
Yes.
And it doesn't have to be huge, but it's that collective, if we all do a little piece, and that's the magic of Waterloo Region, I think, and why House of Friendship even exists, because of everyone coming together, doing a little piece, and that coming together.
Yeah, that's maybe the success of the organization, is saying, we don't have to do it all, but we need to take a step forward every single day. We need to advance how we can help people every single day.
Absolutely.
I was going to ask you what your why is, but rather than ask you what your why is about why you're there, I want to ask you what your what is. What motivates you every single day? Because I can remember asking Pat Singleton, we did an interview with her a little while ago with her Pat in the Hat promotion. And I said to her, I said, Pat, how do you get up and get excited to go into work every day when you know all you're going to hear is sad stories that are going to probably emotionally affect you? How does John Neufeld do it every single day? Because you're hearing thousands of stories like that all the time.
Two things, Greg. First of all, this work's got to be personal, which it is for me, deeply personal. I've shared with you a little bit of my story. Our family immigrated in 1981 to this country from the world's most hated country at the time. And so I put up with a lot of stuff on the playground, and I was told that I don't belong because of where I'm from, the language I speak. And so although I don't know what it's like to be homeless, I don't know what it's like to have an addiction, I do know what it's like not to belong. And so the work is personal, because at House of Friendship, our vision is simply a healthy community where all can belong and thrive. And so I'm motivated by that, because that's what we do in society. Oh, you're homeless, or you're struggling with addictions, you don't belong. There's something wrong with you, or you're from this country and we don't trust you. And so there's that personal motivation. The second thing, what gets me out of bed every day, and I can't wait to get to work, the people I serve with. Hands down, the gift of serving in this field is, yes, you will hear difficult stories, and you will hear lots of challenges. But you have access to the saints of this world in a way that a lot of people don't. And that's a huge, deep privilege that I take very seriously. I don't ever take that for granted. The people I serve with are an absolute gift, because I've learned a lot about life, about myself, community, and I'm really deeply honored to serve in my role.
I'll tell you what strikes me as interesting with you, and why my regard for you is at the top it could possibly be for people that I know, because you're quick to give credit to other individuals. You alone, John Neufeld, along with the resources that the House of Friendship avails you to, and the stature that it has given you in the region of Waterloo, you've made leaps and bounds advancements in what we can do to help people who are underprivileged in certain areas or have addictions. And yet you're quick to give those credits to other organizations, because you know you can't do it, but you've helped other organizations be able to provide that service. And I think more particularly in downtown Kitchener, where you sat on a committee and you worked with the agencies in the area to really make a remarkable difference in downtown Kitchener. You should take some of that credit, John, because I know, but not everybody knows that you've had a big impact.
I'm going to tell you to cut the film if you keep talking like this. I mean, all good leaders know that they cannot accomplish anything on their own. And it is only through the people that we serve and lead with that anything gets done. So, no, I'm not going to take credit for it, but nice try. Next question.
It's interesting, because you and I had a conversation with a couple of individuals. And I told them before we met, I said, you're really going to like John. You're going to be very appreciative of the services that he's bringing to Cambridge, that he already has in Cambridge, but the new services that he's bringing to Cambridge through the House of Friendship. But you're also going to really regard him as a keen thinker that is solution-based. And I can tell you that when we walked away from that meeting, you went your way and I went my way, I got response from those individuals who absolutely confirmed that. And I think, I think the House of Friendship has made a really wise investment in you. And I think the region of Waterloo is going to be better for it. And I think it's really important that you stand up and say the House of Friendship wants to take those steps every single day forward. We want to do more when we can do more. And we want to be that resource that people come to, because I think that sometimes is what gets lost, is people don't know where to go to get help. And I'm talking about agencies or organizations within our community. And I think you're that open door that people would feel comfortable with, because you're not there to take over, you're there to help.
Yeah, Greg, and two things with that. One, this isn't about me. It's never about us. And B, I'm a strong believer in to whom much is given, much is expected. That's sort of has been ingrained in me. And I do believe that much has been given to House of Friendship. It's got a rich 77-year history. There's a lot of trust in the work that we do. We've learned a lot over those years, right? We didn't know much about sheltering and housing when we first started. We didn't know much about addictions treatment, but we've been doing this stuff for decades. Mm-hmm. When we first walked into our first neighborhood, Chandler Mowat, we saw all the need around us. We didn't quite know how to do community development in 1985, but we've learned over the decades, and so we have that expertise. We're not going to be all things to all people. Mm-hmm. That is not our goal. But we know the 4 areas we're going to lead in and where we can have the most impact in our community. And so that's what we want to give back to the community as mm-hmm. our way of saying thank you for the way the community has invested in us and trusted in us. It's not about territorialism or growing for the sake of growing. I think what I said to you is, Greg, take me into any conversation, but I don't do ego and I don't do territorialism. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We just don't have time for that, because the work we do at House of Friendship matters. There's lives at stake here. This isn't about making a mistake on the size of a widget. This is people's lives. So we can't waste time on that kind of stuff, and so I won't give time to that.
John Neufeld, it's been a pleasure to sit down and talk with you. We need to come back and talk more once your program is up and running here and you've got more in-depth information on the City of Cambridge, but more involvement on the City of Cambridge. But I just want you to know that House of Friendship is really important to the regional Waterloo, and our friendship is really important to me. And I've appreciated in being engaged in opportunities with you. I think it's just, Cambridge is going to be better having John Neufeld have a footprint here. So thanks very much.
Greg, thank you so much for the time and your friendship and support. Thank you.